The Black Stars of Ghana have a new coach, but he's no stranger to the team or easy. Ayatunde Balogun tells us more about that story and more.
Yes, indeed, Melinda is no stranger, but we'll get to that in a moment. First of all, let's talk about the Women's Football League in Nigeria, where players now have every reason to smile, as the Women's League body will go tough on clubs who are owing players. The independent chairperson of the Women's League, Aisha Falode, who was our guest on our program Channel Sports this morning, says the league body can no longer fold its arms while the trend continues.
We spoke to the clubs about this, that you cannot pay the girls their salaries when you think it's convenient for you. It is not normal to owe player salaries for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, some of them up to 7 months. They tell you the economy is bad, I mean, government too is owing, and we say this case is different. You know, you have contracts with these girls, which is another thing we are telling the players. Do not play for any club if there's no proper contract signed. Do not just cross the dotted lines. You have to get also the services of a lawyer. And the clubs, they also understand that players' welfare, especially salaries, no matter how small, the minimum wage must be respected. If you are going to pay the players, it must be at least to the standard of the minimum wage, and the salaries must come on time. If they don't come on time and we get a report, we are going to investigate, and then our handbook is taking care of all of this, you know, consequent sanctions for the clubs that owe player salaries.
We'll call it a second coming for Kwesi Appiah. With the Ghana Football Association, the GFA has reappointed him as the coach of the Black Stars. Appiah, who will also take charge of the national team for locally based players, has been offered a 2-year contract to start work on May the 1st. He replaces Aram Grant, who stepped down as coach after the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations. It's his second time in charge, as Appiah led the Black Stars from 2012 until 2014. And since leaving the national team following a poor 2014 World Cup campaign, he has been coaching Sudanese side Al Khartoum. In the English Premier League, and a winless run. That's a 7-game winless run. Now, champions Leicester made it 6 wins from 6 under boss Craig Shakespeare after a 2-0 win over relegation-threatened Sunderland. A resurgent Watford survived for half an hour with 10 men as they beat West Brom 2-0 to end back-to-back victories. And pressure continues to mount on Red Devils manager Jose Mourinho after Manchester United were held by Everton to a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford. Zlatan Ibrahimovic scoring a late penalty for the Red Devils. An Italian coach, Filippo Di Piero, has been arrested by Spanish police investigating allegations of match fixing. The coach of Spanish third side Eldense was arrested after his side's 12-0 defeat by Barcelona's B team on Saturday. There is no indication that Barcelona B were involved in any wrongdoing. The defeat, a joint record for Spain's third tier, sealed Eldense's relegation. And Novak Djokovic says he understands Rafa Nadal's decision to opt out of the Davis Cup quarterfinal clash between Serbia and Spain. Nadal will miss next weekend's matchup to intensify preparations for the clay court season following his runner-up placement at the Miami Open on Sunday. Now, Djokovic missed the Masters Series at Indian Wells and Miami with an elbow injury, and having recovered, he says he's eager to lead Serbia past Spain. And that's a wrap on Sports News. I'm Ayatunde Balogun. The News at 10 continues in a moment.
South Africa's President Jacob Zuma is under pressure to step down from office as some citizens say he's no longer the right person to lead the country. The latest call is coming from the country's powerful trade union federation, popularly called CASOTU, which has about 1.8 million members and constitutes a key part of the governing alliance. Mr. Zuma has faced intense criticism following a major cabinet reshuffle which included the sacking of a trusted finance minister. That decision led to South Africa's credit rating being cut to junk status by Standard & Poor's, putting more pressure on a troubled economy. And now to Syria, where at least 18 people have been killed and dozens injured in a suspected chemical attack on a rebel-held town in the northwest. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reports that strikes by the government and Russian jets has caused many people to choke. However, an investigation by the United Nations concluded last October revealed that government forces used chlorine as a weapon several times between 2014 and 2015, but the Syrian government has strongly denied this. The Russian State Investigative Committee has revealed that the St. Petersburg metro explosion was caused by a bomb possibly set off by a man whose body parts were found on the train. The suspect, identified as Albazon Jalilov, had planted a second bomb that did not go off. And the main news again. President Muhammadu Buhari is to launch the federal government's 3-year economic recovery and growth plan tomorrow in Abuja. A statement from the presidency says the ceremony will take place in the council chambers of the presidential villa at 11 a.m. Protesters from Borno State today stormed the National Assembly in Abuja, demanding the immediate reinstatement of Senator Ali Ndume. And South Africa's Trade Union Federation today asked President Jacob Zuma to resign amid criticism trailing his cabinet reshuffle. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. I'm Melinda.